Today we're going to learn how a Scottish native falls in love with wine in France and then ends up becoming named a winemaker to watch right here in Sonoma. Well, so I'm not gonna lie, your accent gives it away a little bit. I'm guessing you're not a native of Sonoma.
North Texas.
Yeah, okay.
I'm from North Texas.
That's what I was gonna say.
A little bit further east and a little bit further north of Texas, actually, in Scotland.
Tell me a little bit more about how you get from Scotland to Sonoma.
It was a long, sinuous trip.
Yes.
So it took me, first of all, I left Scotland after uni, and I went to work in France. So I went down to work in France. And I lived in France for many years, and that's where I discovered wine. I got into wine down there. I got friends with a bunch of French guys, and they were all into wine. I didn't know what wine was, coming from Scotland, but wine came out of a box.
Okay.
So when we got to France, that's where I discovered that wine actually came out of a bottle, and it tasted really good. So I discovered I had a passion for it, and then I discovered I had a palate for it. And it's been a slippery path ever since. But when I came over here, the first thing I wanted to do was discover Californian wine country. And so I traveled all over Californian wine country, Sonoma, Dry Creek, Russian River, Napa, all over the place. And I really fell into the Californian wine industry. I met a winemaker up in Dry Creek, and I started helping him make wine. And so I helped him for a couple of vintages, and then asked him in 2007, I said to him, is there any way I could make a little bit of Syrah on the side? And he said to Michael Talty, said to me, he says, well, tell you what, if you continue helping me make my Zin, I'll let you make your Syrah here. Nice. Little did I know it was the very first step of a very slippery path.
Right. A good path.
A good path, very enjoyable path.
So fast forward to where we are today. We're standing in your beautiful tasting room. We're in Kenwood. Tell me more about where the winery and what your brand is now today.
So I started my label in 2007, and I've been making wine since 2007. We opened a little tasting room down on the plaza in 2013, and I was there for 6 years. And just recently, actually just this year, we opened this little our tasting cottage on our property, our new property. Heather, my wife, found this property last year, and we moved out here last year during harvest. And we just opened our doors. We're actually inviting people in by appointment now, and we take people through the wine. Absolutely,
and it's adorable and welcoming and just such a wonderful little space here. Tell me about your vision for your brand, and your focus is currently on Syrah.
So for me, when I was living in France, I lived in 2 places in France. I lived in Paris for 5 years, but then I also lived in the Northern Rhone for 5 years. And if you know, but Northern Rhone in France is known for its Syrahs. That's where they grow the majority of Syrah in France, and that's where I fell in love with Syrah. Especially when I got friends with Yves and Francois, I really got into the Syrahs in that area. And so really my thing in California is I love French Syrah, I love Northern Rhone Syrah, and I'm trying to make that same style. The big difference between the Northern Rhone and here, California, is really how much sun we get here, because we're a lot further south latitude-wise than they are in the Northern Rhone. And so the way that I'm trying to replicate the conditions of the Northern Rhone, since I can't move the tectonic plates, is I'm
just a little detail.
It's a little detail. Yeah. They move on their own actually around here.
They do.
So I'm going out towards the coast, and I look for sea fog. So the fog, when it comes into the vineyards in Russian River area, keeps the vines from seeing too much sun. And because the vines see less sun, they develop less sugar, and with less sugar I can make wines with less alcohol.
So tell me, how did you find your vineyard sources?
A lot of work, a lot of effort, and a lot of networking. I've been very fortunate to have some very good friends who are winemakers and who have been very, very helpful in terms of telling me that they've heard somebody on the grapevine has dropped a contract, or somebody, so you might want to wait 5 minutes and give the grower a call. And
nice.
I typically only wait like a minute or 2 minutes, showing great personal restraint. But it's the other thing is really to try, as I said, I'm trying to show a range of Syrahs. And so I'm really trying to find a vineyard in some of as you mentioned, all the kind of the microclimates in the Russian River, to try and find vineyards that are representative of all of the different microclimates. Still cool climate, But there's a difference between super cold climate and less cold climate, and that's really what I'm trying to actually show. And so it's a lot of driving around, a lot of talking to people, and then a lot of tasting, which is the best part.
Yeah. That's the perk, right?
Yes, best part of winemaking.
Best part.
Wine drinking.
Exactly. So on that note, when people come here and they schedule a tasting with you, what can they expect?
So what they can expect is to sit down with myself or my wife. It's just the two of us. We don't have anybody else. I am my wife's only employee. And so we sit down with our guests and we take them through my wines. And we actually have a little food pairing plate that we put together so that we can actually introduce people to the concept of food pairing with regards to Syrah and show the range that Syrah can go through, but also the Pinot, the Viognier, the Sauvignon Blanc, and actually show how the flavours can change.
So last question, any plans for a vineyard in Scotland? Well, cheers and thank you so much for having us.
You're welcome.
Steve's passion for winemaking is apparent, and the tasting experience they offer here is truly unique. Be sure to book yours today, order some wine, and thank you for your support.